Hello, my name is Todd Baxter, and I'm the Sheriff from Monroe County, New York.
And I'm Marty Musey, President and CEO of Paychecks. The topic of workplace violence isn't an easy one to talk about, but it's necessary. As we watch the news and hear about these terrible events, we are often at a loss as to what to do if we encounter such a situation in our own lives. As one of Rochester's largest employers and a leader in the communities where we've been doing business for decades, it's important to all of us at Paychecks to keep our communities safe. That's why Paychecks and our employees are proud to have partnered with the Monroe County Sheriff's Department to bring you this important training material.
Nothing is more important to any organization than the safety of their employees and customers. It's unfortunate that we have to make a training video on surviving an active threat. The reality is, these situations are rare, but as we see from the news, they do occur. How would you respond to an active threat? Have you mentally prepared yourself? What would you do to survive an active threat at the workplace, in a movie theater, or at the local shopping mall? This training video will give you suggestions on how to prepare yourself.
We want everyone to feel and be safe, whether they are at work or just out in our community. The information we are sharing in this video will help you be aware of the steps we all need to take to help prevent an act of violence in the workplace. And more than that, it will teach you what to do if you should find yourself in an environment where knowing what to do can help keep you free from harm. Yes, it's scary to think about, but we hope you'll walk away from this video feeling more confident that you'll know what to do should you encounter the situation.
Thank you for coming and participating in this presentation on active threats. My name is Mike Wicks. I'm a lieutenant with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, and I'm currently the commander of our SWAT team. This is a very important topic. This is something that's going on throughout the nation, throughout the world. It's not an easy topic. It's difficult to discuss, but it's very important. We need to get our communities prepared that if an incident like this happens, that we know what we can do. We have a plan of what we can do to try and minimize the damage that occurs during these incidents. Today is not just about techniques. We're going to offer some guidelines, some techniques that you can follow. But more importantly, today is going to be about mindset. So we're going to talk about that quite a bit. Mindset is critically important, that you understand what you can do, what your abilities are, and do you have that ability to actually survive this and get through that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a video. The video is not easy to watch. There's not blood and gore, but it does come across as very real. It is a reenactment of an active threat that had occurred at a location. Once we get through that, we'll start breaking down some ideas, some guidelines or techniques as to what you can do. But right now, as we're talking, I want you to think about this. If I were not here right now and somebody walked through one of these doors and started shooting, would you have the ability to survive that? And if you're saying no right now, I'm hoping to change your mindset by the end of the presentation.
What's your emergency?
There's a shooter in the building! People are getting shot!
Can you tell me where you are, sir? Shots fired.
You hear that? Did you hear it? Oh,
Hello? Hello? Hello, sir, are you there? Caller's unresponsive. He may have been shot.
Hello?
Hello, yes, this is 911.
911?
Yes, sir, is everything okay? Can you tell me where you are?
He's indisposed.
Perpetrator has the phone.
I think your conversation's over
I
unless...
think the perpetrator has the phone.
You got any last words, buddy? Yeah, he's not feeling so good. Shut up! You guys are fucking terrible hiders. Anybody else?
Well, you don't have to do this.
Oh,
Please have mercy on us.
Oh, mercy. Okay. Keep talking.
We got families.
Keep talking.
Please.
You don't think I have a... Shut up! You don't think I have a family? And all of a sudden you care about me now? All of a sudden you care about me now. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Look at that. See that blood bubbling out? I did that. We did that! Shut up! One more fucking... Shut up!
Very difficult to watch. As I said, we know that's a reenactment, but that is the reality of what one of these things looks like. But often we don't see the background of what actually occurred. We hear things in the media, they say something happened, they talk about who the victims were and how many there were, and that's about it. We don't generally get into the details of what led up to it and how it actually occurred inside that location. So I chose Sandy Hook Elementary, December 14th of 2012 in Newtown, Connecticut. I think it's important for us to break down this is what actually happened there and what led up to it. The school held approximately 450 people, including students and faculty. 20 students were killed and 6 faculty members were killed, and it lasted only 6 minutes. 6 minutes, 26 people lost their lives. The weapons that were used, semi-automatic rifle, 2 handguns. So we have an understanding their security, they had security measures in place at this school. They had recently installed a new system, video identification, electronic doors, visitors are to be buzzed in. Those doors, the entry doors, they lock at 9:30 at this school. This is Adam, 20 years old, had no criminal record, no history with law enforcement at all. Used his mother's firearms for the shooting. He killed his mother earlier in the morning, shot her multiple times in the head. She was found in her bed. This is a picture of the school itself. That yellow area on there is depicting is the area that Adam actually made it into the school. Very small area there. So how did he get into the school? They had all this security, everything put into place to try and keep this from happening. The picture you're seeing up there on the left side of that picture is the security door. This is where people get brought into the building. The window to the right of that is the window that he took his gun and he just shot the window, broke the glass, and stepped in. Within a second, he made himself able to get into that building, even with all the security that's provided there. So at 9:35, he arrived at the school, parked his car in the fire lane, exited his car with his rifle, 2 handguns, a load-bearing vest, with hundreds of rounds of ammunition. Initially, he was confronted by a principal, a psychologist, and a teacher. The principal and psychologist were fatally shot, and the teacher was shot, but did survive. At that point, there was a frantic attempt to notify the rest of the school through their PA system, part of their policy that they have in place. He walked down the front hallway and entered 2 of the first grade classrooms. This is where most of the damage occurred. Within that classroom, Lanza killed 2 teachers, behavioral therapist, teacher's aide, and 20 first graders. 6 minutes, 26 people killed in a very small portion of that building. At about 9:41, Lanza took his own life. From the timelines of the event, that's about 1 minute after law enforcement arrived on scene. Teacher hid 14 students in a bathroom, barricaded the door, telling them to remain completely quiet. It's part of the topic for today. They're doing the right things. They are saving lives. He bypassed this room. The belief, we believe, was because there was a black piece of paper that was put up over the window. So I put myself in the mindset of the shooter, and I'm going in there, I want to create as much damage as I possibly can. I'm in a school and I come across a door that is closed and I can't hear anything and I can't get in there, and now I can't see in there. Am I going to waste my time trying to get into that room that very well might be empty? Or am I going to continue down the hallway to find more unlocked doors or where I can hear somebody yelling or screaming? Library staff hid 18 students in part of the library. that they use for lockdown practice drills. It worked. One door to the area would not lock. Children crawled into a storage room, barricaded the door with a filing cabinet. Children did this. They were prepared. They had a plan. 2 students in the hallway were pulled into a classroom where they hid from Lanza. We have people helping people. That's helping people survive this incident. Reading specialist gathered 2 students from outside her classroom, hid them under a desk after hearing the gunshots. Teacher and children hid for 40 minutes until the police rescued them. Fantastic. If you have a place that you are safe and you're hidden, stay there. We will find you. Janitor ran through the hallways alerting classrooms. Everybody's trying to help everybody else out to survive this. Make people aware. Get them out of harm's way. Not everybody has the mental fortitude to be able to function during an incident like this. I'm going to change your mindset today as we talk. And every one of you is going to have the ability to do that. Can you do it during an incident? The answer is yes. So the motives. There was no clear answer that was ever found. We don't understand why he did this. All we can do is take the information from that incident and try and learn from it so we can be better prepared if it were to happen again at some other location. So we find that he was obsessed with firearms, death, and mass shootings. Didn't leave his residence for almost 3 months prior to the shooting. Those are flags. So part of what we're going to discuss today is that if you see something, you need to say something. If you believe somebody might be going in that direction and you don't bring it up, you are going to be the person standing back after this carnage saying, I knew it. I knew something was wrong. We have to have methods that if we have concerns or we see something, we need to say something. I would rather offend somebody and have it not be accurate than not say anything and then something like this happens. And this is a list of the folks that did not survive that incident that day. So we're all on the same page. The definition of active shooter, I'm going to provide that to you. It's basically an individual that's engaged or attempting to engage or kill people in a populated area. We say active shooter, we're kind of changing the terminology to active threat because it's not always firearms that are used during these incidents. There are other weapons, whether it's knives or a vehicle. So active threat is the term that's being used now, but generally firearms are involved. An active shooter, once the incident has occurred, is generally they're going to continue to move throughout that location until they're stopped by law enforcement or by some other means. They don't just stop. There's generally not an end plan that they have. They don't sit down and say, hey, this is what I'm going to do and this is how I'm going to escape. This is how I'm going to leave. Generally, they show up, create as much damage as they can, and then they're either taken into custody or they kill themselves or somebody else kills them. Those are the end results to these. So the FBI, they always gather data anytime that an incident occurs based off of the definition I just provided you. They gather the data, and I put some of that here because I think it's important. From 2000 to 2017, there were 250 incidents in the United States alone. Does that seem like a big number? It is. It's a very big number. But what's interesting to me, between 2000 and 2007, there was an average of about 6.5 per year. Between 2008 and 2013, it's now bumped up almost to 16.5. 2014, 2015, we're now up to 20 per year. And the statistics just came out for 2016 and 17. It increased to 25 per year. What is going on? That's what we're trying to figure out. Till we get that figured out, we need to try and help you folks out, help the community out. Because they're continuing and they're happening more often, according to the statistics. So until we get that figured out, how to stop all of them, we need to protect ourselves and come up with a plan. That's why I'm here. These incidents occurred in 40 of the 50 states across the United States, and the duration is, the average is 5 minutes. If you take all those incidents, 90% of them are done within 10 minutes. Casualty, I'd like to define what a casualty is. A casualty is a person that was injured. It doesn't necessarily mean that they were killed. It includes people that were killed as well. But some injury was sustained because of that incident. So that's where these numbers come from. That number here for 2016, 2017, that's a big number. That's because of the shooting in Las Vegas. It's an anomaly. It's not typical to have that many people that were injured or killed. It affected this, but it happened. It's the reality of what we're dealing with in our times right now. So of those 943, 221 were killed, 722 were wounded. So what does that tell me? It tells me a lot of people got hurt, right? But statistics tell me I have a better chance of surviving this than not, even if I get hurt. So that's the mindset I want to start developing, is that if this were to happen, I am not going to lay down and do nothing and become a victim. I'm going to survive it. And by not having any training and not doing anything, statistics already show you're more likely to survive it than not. I prefer to look at it that way. Locations. This is important for you to recognize. The information I'm providing today is not pertinent just to here. It's pertinent to wherever you go, whoever's with you, your family, your loved ones. You can take this information you're receiving today and pass that on to them because it's applicable to wherever you go. So what do? You have to have a plan. There is nothing magical here at all. The magic happens within your own head. This is how you survive it. I'm going to give you some guidelines. Everybody's situation is different than everybody else's. You have to develop your own plan of what you're going to do. Most active shooter incidents are very unpredictable. They evolve quickly. You don't know where you're going to be, even if you're at work. Maybe you stepped out of your office if you have an office or a cubicle, and you went to another location in that building. Do you know what you would do from there? Being aware, getting prepared, that's how you protect yourselves. That's how you protect your employees, your customers, your loved ones. But you have to have the proper mindset in order to be able to accomplish it. So on our SWAT team, when we bring new members on, we have a saying that we give them. It's, your body will not go where your mind hasn't already been. And what does that mean? Let's think about that for a minute. Can you do something for the first time without thinking about it? The answer is no. Anywhere from when you're little and you're learning how to walk, that takes a long time. Or as we're older and we're given a new task or a new piece of equipment that we've never used before. Am I going to be able to do that? Not without giving it some thought before I can do it. So, if I'm in a situation in my building and I have my office and I know exactly where it is and I've never thought about an incident occurring, and all of a sudden I hear shots fired, and I've never gone there in my head before, I'm already behind the 8 ball. Because now I have to think, I have to register, what was that noise? And I hear it again. That sounds like a gunshot. What do? Do I barricade the door? Do I run? And now, of a 5-minute incident, I'm wasting critical time, critical seconds, because I have to develop a plan under the most stress I've ever been under in my life. Can I do that, or am I going to freeze? Am I going to go what we call as code black? Everything comes in like this. I can't see anything. I can't hear anything. I can't think. I can't function. Now I can't get out of the way. I can't survive it because I'm not doing anything. So what I'm asking you to do, and what this means, is take your mind there now. Think about different scenarios that could occur for your specific situation. And now you've already been there. So if it happens, you don't have to think about it. You can just go. You can just do it. So be aware of your surroundings. Now, I don't want people to start getting paranoid. Live your life the way that you're living your life. Just be more aware of what's going on and come up with some plans. It's easy to do. Develop a plan. If this were to happen, this is what I'm going to do. Can I get out this window? Can I move this piece of furniture to barricade a door? If you have a plan that I'm going to move this file cabinet and barricade my door, and then it happens and you never actually tried to move that file cabinet and you find out that you can't, that's a problem. So you start thinking about what works for you. So now you find out you can't move the file cabinet. Now you have to come up with something else because that's not a viable solution. Do you want to come up with that plan while there's people getting shot, running around, and you don't know where the bad guy is? Of course you don't. Your body won't go where your mind hasn't already been. Most importantly, what is it that makes you want to survive? And do you know that you can? There's people in here right now that are telling me, by the way you're looking, I don't think I can do that. And I'm going to change your minds. You have to find out what makes you want to survive. And the answer is, can you survive? Absolutely you can. And I'm going to show you how to do it. If something's going on in the building, run if it's possible to run. Hide if it's probable that the person is coming, and fight, absolutely fight if it's necessary to do that. Go in this order if you can. That doesn't mean that's going to be the case. If you have a chance to run, I prefer you run than fight. So let's break it down a little bit. Run. Run's pretty basic. It is what it is. We know what running means, to get from point A to point B as fast as possible. I mean that, fast. Be familiar with your location, your surroundings. So let me ask you this. Are you completely familiar with the whole building that you work in? You know where all the exits are. Do you know that there's roof access? Is there a basement? My point is, are there areas in the building that you could find yourself in that you've never been in before? If that's not the case, that's fantastic. You're already a step ahead. But if you're a part of that building that you've never been before, and something happens and you hear gunshots, and now the first thing I want to do is run, how do I know where I'm running? Am I running to a dead-end location where I can't get out of the building? I'm sure many of you already, based off of what I've said, have put yourselves in your office or your cubicle or wherever it is and started thinking about, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? But now you need to know, as soon as you hear something, as soon as you're notified or you hear the gunshots, you have to do it immediately. You can't waste that 5 seconds or 10 seconds, whatever the case might be. You have to take immediate action. So I'm running out of the building. Is everybody else aware of what's going on? Mike is running because there's shooting going on. We have to help each other. So we grab other people if we can, if we have the ability to do that. It is about focusing on yourself and developing a plan for yourself, but we have to help each other. Because maybe that person that's with you didn't develop their own plan. And you have a plan, and now you can help them. You can help them get through that. And I want you to leave everything. Leave all your belongings. The only thing I would say consider taking with you is a cell phone if you have one. There's critical information that law enforcement or all first responders are going to want that we need to get from you. Nothing else matters at that point. Don't worry about your purse or your wallet if it's on the desk or pictures of your family members or whatever the case might be. Leave everything and run. Get out of that area. So we're talking now what you're dealing with at work, right? But with that also comes these other locations that you just might be visiting. So you're out in a movie theater. We discussed it that they point out where the exits are. So if there's a fire, you know how to get out of there. Do you do that when you go into a restaurant? You go to some restaurant and you're all the way in the back. Do you know where the exits are? They're all over the place. I'm telling you that. But do you pay attention to that? Do you take the whole whopping 10 seconds to sit down and look around and say, oh, there's an exit there and there's an exit there. If something were to happen, I now know I can get out that door. Because if you don't do that, your mind is automatically going to go to, well, I came in the front door. That's where I know I can get out. And possibly that's where this person is. And now I feel trapped. And now I have to develop a plan under tremendous amounts of stress, as opposed to you go in, you sit down, and you take a look around, there's an exit, there's an exit. Consider when you're sitting down at the table, if you want to take a look at or face towards that front door. Because chances are if something's going to happen, it's going to start at that front door. Chances are. If I hear something, all I do is look, Now I can make a decision as to what I need to do. It's only a moment, but moments are critical. Not changing our lifestyle. We're not changing what we're doing. We're just being aware of our surroundings. Pretty basic.
Get to know. Especially you've only been here for 7 months, so it's good as a new employee. Yeah.
So we move on to hide. We can't run at this point for whatever reason. Now, when gunshots go off inside of a building, it's extremely difficult, near impossible, to know which direction they're coming from because that sound bounces off of walls. You might think it's all the way down this hallway where in fact it's the opposite direction. So you don't really know. If you're in an office, consider staying in there depending on the situation that you have. If that's an office that's on the first floor and you have windows leading to the outside, I'm not going out in the hallway because I know I can get through that window, even if it's not a window that's meant to be open. I know I can get through that window because I've already sat there and I've looked at the stuff that I have in my office and that I know I can pick something up that I have and smash out that window. And if it's that big, heavy-duty, double-pane, thick glass stuff, well, those window punches cost about $3. Throw it in your drawer, right? This is what I'm talking about. It's up to you in your situation, but understand if you're trapped in that room because one of these things happened, you need to have some plan as to what you're going to do. If you have windows coming into your office, and I'm the shooter and I'm outside, and all I have to do is look in there and say, oh, hey, Becky. I now know Becky is in there. So now Becky has an issue. So is there a way to quickly cover up windows, depending on your situation? Try and visualize this for a moment. You have a door that's looking into your office that has a big window on it. And I can't cover up that window, and the shooter's coming down the hallway, and I know the shooter's going to look in that window into my office. Where should I stand then? Where should I be? I don't know your layouts of the office. Maybe you can get under a desk where you can't be visible. What if there's no furniture in that room that you're in? You got a big window on the door. Now where do I go? I go against the wall right next to that door because that's the hardest place to see me. Puts me physically closest to the bad guy. But now I'm out of view. And maybe it gives me an advantage of when we go to the fight portion, if that person comes in here, that as soon as that person enters, I am right there to get my hands on that person. We need to make sure part of the plan is that we're going to assist people that have some type of special need, whatever that need is. That has to be part of somebody's plan. It has to be part of multiple people's plan because if it's part of my plan and I'm not there that day, we got an issue. If the shooter is nearby, if I'm in my office, consider staying in that office and I want to barricade stuff. I want to use stuff that's going to help protect me to a certain level from bullets. So I'll explain the difference between cover and concealment, if not everyone is aware. Cover is basically getting behind something that hides you and protects you from bullets. So let's say a column that's made out of cement. I can get behind that and I'm pretty confident if bullets hit that column, it's not going to come through. Concealment is different. Concealment hides you, but it doesn't protect you from anything. It's like squatting down behind a bush. Bad guy's coming, I get behind a bush. Can't see me, But if bullets come that way, they're going to go right through the bush. I'll ask you, a vehicle. Is a vehicle cover or concealment? It can be both, but barely. It's mostly only concealment. Most handgun rounds, if I shoot it through a side door, will go through that door and out the other door. Anybody know that? Think about that. And that's a handgun round. A rifle round goes through stuff significantly harder to get through than that. On a car, what's going to protect you with cover is the engine block and probably the wheels of your tires. That's about it. The rest of that is just concealment. But think about that. Is your wall from the hallway to your office made out of drywall or is it made out of cement? I don't know. It depends. But there's a difference in my plan. If I go knock on that wall and I can tell it's drywall, I know I can't use that as cover. It's only concealment. Don't go to your boss and say, hey, let's get rid of the drywall and put up some cement here, right? We're not doing that. We're taking into account what we have that we can work with, so we're aware and we can develop a good plan in our heads before our body even has to go there. So if an active shooter is nearby, I need you to try and remain calm. And I'm going to talk about this topic here for a little bit because I think it's critically important. You're going to be under the most amount of stress that you've ever been in your life. You're going to be fearful for your life. Somebody is going to lose control. They're going to have a hard time. Now, all of you, I'm sure somebody in your life, whether formally or informally, you are a leader to them. Whether it's your position in the department or it's just how you're viewed by your peers, which means somebody is looking at you. And as a leader, they're going to respond to your actions. So here's what I want you to think about. If you are not under control of your own emotions and you're losing it, you're screaming, you're crying, you're a puddle, and you have these people that look up to you as a leader and they see that, what is that going to do to them? Well, if that's how Mike is acting, then we're done. Now, if somebody is not calming down and we need to get them to calm down, how do we do that? Because I know if I've got my wife to a point where she's pretty irritated with me and I say, hey, calm down, that doesn't work. I'm going to have a bigger problem on my hands than I had before, right? So what do? Physical touch is probably the most important thing. Get their attention. Look at me. Look at me. You have to be quiet. You have to be quiet. We'll help you. Whatever it is, get that person to connect, because if they're freaking out, they're not thinking right, they're not going through or executing their plan, and they're probably being loud. And we don't want them to be loud when we're hiding from somebody who's trying to shoot us. So we have to try and calm them down. Get inside a room, barricade the door. So barricade we spoke about, difference between cover and concealment. Anything you can put between that door and you is a good thing, even if it's only a computer. If you can move the desk, if you can move the file cabinet, whatever the case may be. And if you don't have that stuff, then we put bodies up against it, whoever is there, because we're just going to push and push to make sure that person can't get in. Is there a closing mechanism at the top of the door? What do you think happens if I take my belt off and I wrap it around that closing mechanism? It's going to make it a lot harder to open that door. Make sure you silence your cell phone, because in a very short amount of time, information is going to get out that something is happening and somebody's going to call you. And it's probably going to be right at the time when the bad person is walking by your office and you're trying to hide underneath your desk, and all of a sudden you hear the phone go off, right? Keep your cell phones turned off and try and stay quiet. Basic, nothing magical. That's what you do when you hide.
So we have 5 elements of customer values up here. Who can give me another idea? Something that sound, is that, oh my God. Richard.
I'm at work. We think there's a shooter. We're in the training room. It's 345 Main Street. Hurry, please. Hurry.
can't run, we can't hide. That gives us one other option. We have to fight this person. So if it's left up to fight right now, I want each of you to think within your head, my situation right now, could I fight a person with a gun? And could I succeed? Could I win and survive it by yourself? Can you do it? I see some people shaking their heads no. I see some different looks on faces. I'm telling you that you can, and here's how you're going to do it. What weapons do you folks have on you right now that you could use? Improvised weapons. Keys, chairs, shoes, hands, cell phones, glasses, okay? Let's take that a step further. Let's think about this for a minute. Coffee, hot coffee. What happens if I take a cup of hot coffee and I throw it in somebody's face? It doesn't have to be all about creating injury to stop this person. The injury can come later if it's needed. How do I distract this person? Can I take a fire extinguisher from 10 feet away and blast them in the face? And then, if need be, walk up with the cylinder of it and hit him with it because he just got blasted in the face with it. Has anybody ever thought of doing that with a fire extinguisher? I certainly haven't, not until I started getting into this. What about a pen? What can you do with a pen? You can stab them, right? Stab them somewhere. Okay? I'm hearing necks, I'm hearing eyes. Listen, this is not easy to really put your heads there, but I want you to think about this for a second. Do you have the ability to take a pen and hurt somebody with it? Can you do it? You have the physical ability to do it. Everybody in this room has the physical ability to hurt somebody with a pen. Do you have the mental ability to do it? Do you know how it feels? So I need you to take that step, and I'm going to try and get you there. Anybody in here that's wearing earrings held a newborn baby, and the baby gets a hold of your earring and pulls? What's that do? Hurts? Distracts you? You're still under enough control that hopefully you don't drop the baby, right? So a newborn baby can change your channel, cause a little bit of pain, right? Now we're dealing with a 5-year-old, right? Little 5-year-old. Oh, down here. And the 5-year-old's having a temper tantrum, so you get down on that 5-year-old's level. And you're talking to the 5-year-old, trying to calm him or her down. Whack! Get hit in the face. What's that do? Hurts. Hurts a little bit more. Probably upsets you a little bit more than the little baby that's pulling on your ear, right? What's your name?
Melissa.
Melissa? You stand up for me? Melissa's pregnant. You are pregnant, right?
Yeah, I'm pregnant. You're safe.
Who here, by show of hands, wants Melissa to punch you in the face as hard as she can?
I have hormones.
She has hormones. Think about this. Pregnant Melissa, and nobody in here wants her to punch you in the face. Why is that? It would hurt. I don't want 5 Melissas coming at me either. Go ahead and have a seat. With pens, flagpoles, computers, boots, coffee, whatever the case might be, scissors. So now we know as adults we can cause damage. Everybody in this room can cause damage. Do you have the mindset, the ability to do that? Can you take a pen and stick that in somebody's neck? Well, if you don't think you can, let me ask you a question. What if your child was with you? Does that change anything? It does. Because you have that ability within you to protect other people. Melissa's going to protect her child without question. So if that child is not there with you, are you okay with this person taking you away from that child? Does that change things? This is about mindset. If my child is not with me and somebody's coming into this room and they're trying to hurt me, I want to go home to my child or my loved one, whatever it is that is so near and dear to me that gives me that ability to fight. Whatever it is, if you have to go through your plan knowing your child is not there, but if it happens, I'm thinking about my child and drawing that energy, and I now can take that pen and do what I need to do with it because that person's not taking me from my child. So you know you can do it physically, and you now know you can do it mentally because you just shook your head yes. It makes a difference if my child is there, or my sister, or my mom, or dad, or loved one, or whoever it is. And if they're not there, I want to go home and I want to see them. And I know my coworker that's with me is going to do the same thing. And somebody is going to stop this person from hurting anybody else. I already saw a change in so many faces in here, and these are just words. Develop your own plan. Find something more significant than what I just said to get you to that point if you don't think you can do it. So if you have to, we come up with plans, right? We're going to look around our office. We're going to find out what we have in there. Use these weapons. Immediate reaction, yell. You have to commit to your actions, though. And you can't hesitate. If you hesitate, that person has the upper hand. Come up with a plan, and you immediately respond to it.
All right, guys. You know what to do.
All right, guys. There's definitely an active shooter. We gotta protect ourselves. Everybody get in behind me. Computer monitor, everybody get back here. Grab a chair. Just be quiet, okay? You have to. Mercy, you have to. This is the time. It's right.
So the next thing that I want to move on to is what you can expect from the response of law enforcement when we get on scene. Now, I had mentioned when you're taking off, when you're running or leaving the location, we don't want you to bring any personal items with you. However, if you have an opportunity to bring a cell phone with you, please do. We want as many people to call in 911 as possible. Information that we're looking for, location of the shooter. Because if I arrive in the building and I don't know where the shooter is, I'm going to start to systematically clear throughout that building. If it's a very large building and I know that the person's on the north side of the building, I'm coming to the north side of the building. I want to find out where that person is. How many shooters there are. Now, understand, if we're told there's 3 shooters, we're going to assume there's 4, 5, and 6 shooters. We're always going to assume there's more. If we know there's 2 shooters and we only find 1, there's a problem. So we want to understand that as well. Physical description of the shooters. I'll get to that in a minute, but that's critically important to law enforcement. Number and type of weapons that the shooter has. All we care about, is it a pistol or is it a long gun? Number of potential victims. We're always going to assume the worst. If there's an incident that occurs, every bit of law enforcement in the area is going to be headed that direction. Sheriff's office, state police, you have everybody that's going to be coming to this location. That also goes with EMS. So we're going to have plenty of resources that are available, but certainly if we know there's only 3 injured people or we know there's 30 injured people, there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen. So that's important. So let's get back to the physical description, why this is important to us. If I had a person that walked from a door over here, walked through the audience and walked out that side in regular clothes, I would probably get 10 different descriptions from everybody in here. So here's what I need. When I show up on scene, I want to find that person as fast as I can and engage. But I'm coming into a building with hundreds, maybe thousands of people. So now I have to figure out who is a threat to me and who is not a threat to me. Because I can't treat everybody as a threat, because I'll never make it there. I'm stopping everybody, trying to detain everybody. I can't do that. So we'll play a little game. And the shooter is in this room right now. The description I have is a male white. Okay, so take a look around. Got plenty of male whites in here, right? Okay, a male white between the age of 30 and 50. Now, 30 to 50 for me might be different than somebody else who's thinking 30 to 50. And it's a big range, right? So did that really change anything in this room right now? Right, but now I'm getting further information. Male white, 30 to 50, wearing blue. Oh, we got people getting uncomfortable. So we've narrowed it down a little bit. Male white, 30 to 50 years old, wearing blue, has facial hair. So now the question is that I would have, does this gentleman consider to have facial hair? I personally say yes, of course he has facial hair, because I'm not going to allow a 5 o'clock shadow or a goatee dictate whether or not this person is truly a threat to us. So now we have a male white, 30 to 50 years old, wearing a blue shirt with facial hair, balding. We're down to 2. We're getting there. One step further. He's wearing glasses. Here's our guy right here. Does that make sense to you folks? Not everybody's going to see the same thing, but we try and piece it together. If I have 100 people in the building, 80 of them call us, and 30 of them are saying male white with a blue shirt between 30 and 50, balding, facial hair, and glasses, I have very little concern in this room for most of you. A couple of you, I've got some concerns, right? Because glasses come off, clothing could be changed, age, facial hair, stuff like that probably is not going to change. So that's why we want as many people calling. We want all the information. Our primary function when we arrive on scene is to get in that building and stop the threat, no matter what the cost. Now think about it. We talked a lot about mindset here. Can you imagine the mindset of going to an elementary school and you have multiple children in the hallway that are shot, they're bleeding, and I show up and I have to bypass them? Why do I have to do that? I have to do that so there's not 6 more children that are in the same condition because I stopped and I helped. Understand, the children in the hallway that are injured in that scenario, you folks can help. And we have more resources that are right on my tail to get there to start helping them as well. As an adult, if you're in a position where you are so panicked and law enforcement arrives on scene and you try and attach yourself to me for safety, I have to get past you. Understand that. No matter what, I have to get past you. You can imply that however you want, but I am getting past you to get to the threat. We get on scene, we want to go to wherever the last shots were heard or we know that the suspect was at some point. So we may try to glean information from you folks as we're coming through the building. If you have the mental ability to do it, pay attention to your surroundings and relay that information to us if you can. Very important. And I think it goes without saying, but as you see us enter the building, it's safest to go the direction that we just came from. So even if you're somewhere in the middle of the building and you're not sure where an exit is, which direction you should go, try and go the direction that we just came. Makes sense. So when we arrive on scene, we tell you to show us your hands. There's a reason for that. Hands are what hold weapons and hurts law enforcement. Hands make us nervous. So if I say, show me your hands, or even if you're not told that, keep your hands up. Spread your fingers. And that cell phone that I told you to carry with you, get it out of your hand. We know why? Unfortunately, people have been shot and killed by law enforcement because they had a cell phone in their hand. So I want you to raise your hands and I don't want anything in them. I put on here to remain calm. Critically important for law enforcement, for the folks that are in there, because you can't think if you're in code black. You can't think if you're panicking. You have to try and remain calm and keep the people around you calm. That's going to help me when I come into the building to try and find out where the person is. Try and avoid any type of quick movement. We're going to be very jumpy coming in there. Understand that. Avoid screaming or yelling. Pretty basic, pretty easy. You need to comply regardless of what you know you did or did not do. If we're telling you to do something, there's a reason that we're doing it. And if you choose not to comply, our focus is now on you and not what it should be on. We understand that not everybody is going to hear everything that we tell them or can comprehend what we're trying to tell them. We try and keep it basic. But if I tell you to get on the ground and you don't get on the ground, you're going to get on the ground. It's going to happen. You know you didn't do anything wrong. You know you're not the cause of what's going on. All you want to do is get out of there, but I don't know that. And I'm telling you to do something, you're not doing it. You're now pulling me away from what I should be doing. So I put that up there for a reason. Complying is critically important when we're trying to deal with masses of people and we don't know what's going on. You might be taken into custody. What does that mean? It means probably handcuffed, right? If you didn't do anything wrong and you're being handcuffed by law enforcement, consider yourself lucky because you're now in our custody and you are safe. If you did nothing wrong, you will eventually get out of those handcuffs and you will be released. And everything will eventually be okay. You might be searched. You probably will get searched. If you get handcuffed, you're probably going to get searched. It's going to be quick to make sure you don't have any weapons on you. You could be detained for a very long time. No big deal. It means you're safe with us for a very long time. We will figure it out. You will be interviewed. If you get detained, you're going to be interviewed. You're going to be asked questions. It could be formal. It could be informal. Guaranteed you're going to get asked the same question a whole bunch of times, probably by multiple police officers. We're trying to sort through the mess that we have in front of us and trying to make things safe. So those are the things that might happen. Will they happen if an incident occurs? It all depends, really, on how you folks respond to it. That's why we put this in here. It's important to us. Because all that stuff that I just listed, if any of that has to happen to innocent people, that slows us down.
Okay, ma'am, can you describe the shooter?
He was tall, like maybe 6'2", white guy, long, like he had glasses, he had long hair, but he was balding in the back. I didn't get a really good look at his face, but he had glasses. And
okay, and what kind of weapons does he have? Did you see anything?
It was a gun, it was a short gun, and then I ran, but he was pulling out a longer one, and there was gunshots.
Okay, ma'am, stay away from the building. Law enforcement is on their way.
Hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up. Come to me, come to me, come to me. Keep going. Where'd he go? Shots fired.
Hands up, drop it. Move towards the door, towards the door. Hands up, let me see your hands. Which way did he go? Okay, move past me, go out the door.
Show me your hands! Get on the driver's side of my car for cover!
Run that way. All the way to the back. Keep running. I understand. I got you. Keep running with the crowd. You're doing great. Keep running.
Show me your hands! Get behind the vehicle. Behind my vehicle. Keep moving. All the way behind.
Now I look more towards a business aspect. Policies and procedures are put in place for a reason. Safety measures are put in place. You have to follow those. So when we're talking about electronic doors, for example, or swipe that you have to swipe, I'm sure we see this all the time. It's called piggybacking, right? There's a reason for those security measures to be put in place. If you choose not to follow those measures, you're now opening yourself up. So we have to follow those measures. But we have to make sure that those policies and procedures work. So we could put all the smartest people in the world into a room to come up with all these policies and procedures for a specific company and then put them on paper and hand them out, we don't know if that's going to work until we actually drill it. Critically important. So what I suggest is that the policies and procedures are tested. And on top of that, we also need input from every level of employee that's participating in that. I don't care if you're a brand new person that's only been there 3 weeks and you came in at the lowest level, whatever that is, or you're the CEO. Crisis kits. Now this is not just for businesses. This could be something as simple as throwing in your car, putting in your purse, whatever the case may be. Floor plans are very important to law enforcement. I come to a building, say similar to this building we're in today. It's relatively complex, and even if I've been here before, am I going to remember the ins and outs? Am I going to really know where I'm at? So what we suggest is that floor plans are printed, laminated, and put in there every entrance of the building. So when I come into the building and I'm looking for the bad guy or gal, all I have to do is take that laminated map that's Velcroed to the wall or however you want to do it, and I just pull it off the wall and there's that red dot that says you are here. And I now can orient myself to the building and I have an idea as to which way I'm going. Think of this, as law enforcement, we're outside, we've set up a perimeter, we're sending people in, large building, and I'm outside on the perimeter and I see the gunman and there's 78 windows on the side of the building with 6 stories. How do I relay to the teams inside where this person is? So what we've asked schools to do is just outside on the windows, they put the room numbers and stickers. So now I'm outside and I see 313 on the window and I call out, I see the shooter in room 313 and my buddy who has the map in his hand says 313, it's right there. And now I can get there quickly. These are just ideas I'm throwing out there. Everybody should have some type of good idea for their business. What's going to make it easiest for you to survive? What's going to make it easiest for us to come in and mitigate that problem? Other things to consider, first aid kits. If there's one piece of equipment in a medical kit that you need, it's a tourniquet. They're inexpensive, they're very easy to learn how to use, they're very portable, and they save lives. Most of the people that don't survive these active shooter scenarios is because loss of blood. Many of them could have survived. You can leave tourniquets on 4, 6, 8 hours now. So to wrap things up, we showed you what an active threat incident looks like. We described in detail the process that an active threat or an active shooter actually goes through with Sandy Hook. We talked about some statistics. We've given you some guidelines, run, hide, fight. We've changed some mindsets in here. I guarantee everybody in here has now already thought about their situation, whether it's at work or at home or whatever the case is, and already started developing some type of plan. But it really comes down to the mindset that we discussed. Do you have the physical ability? Yes. Do you have the mental ability? Absolutely yes. We've given you ideas as what to expect when law enforcement arrives on scene and what we can hopefully glean from you or receive help from you. And we've given you some ideas as to what to do with your policies and procedures and how to test them. So with that being said, thank you everybody for coming today and participating. I hope this was worth your time, and please take this very seriously and run with it. Thank you all.